Okay, over in the jail, what's your name, please?
Kenya Timmons-Robley.
Okay. Ms. Timmons-Robley, today you're here in court for your first court appearance in arraignment on a charge of simple assault, domestic violence. Did you get a chance to talk to Ms. Langley before court today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Langley.
Thank you, Your Honor. We did have an opportunity to talk. I think in this case, I would prefer to have the city establish probable cause.
Sure. All right, Mr. Sharp, I swore you in earlier this afternoon as to probable cause.
Thank you, and I need just a minute here. I didn't know that was coming. This information comes from the report of Officer McBride of the Lacey Police Department. He writes that on July 9th this year, approximately 1646 hours, he was dispatched to a domestic violence call at an address on Apollo Street Southeast. Dispatch advised that Kenya Timmons-Robley was calling to report that her husband was harassing her. She told dispatch that Joshua had grabbed her face and she spit on him. Miss Timmons-Robley advised dispatch that she was drinking and had smoked marijuana and advised that her husband had smoked marijuana. Officer arrived at the house, observed a male packing up a vehicle. He was later identified as Joshua Robley, Ms. Timmons-Robley's husband. Officer knocked on the door of the home and Ms. Timmons-Robley answered. She was highly emotional, crying, was talking rapidly. Officer asked her about what occurred today. She said that her husband was yelling at her because she was trying to tell her child not to unload a dresser out of the back of the van. She said that Mr. Robley started to yell at her and would not leave her alone, and that she went to the downstairs bedroom, turned the television on and turned it very high so it would drown out Mr. Robley as he was yelling at her in their room. She said that Mr. Robley turned the television off. She left the room to get away from him because he was yelling at her to be the woman he wanted to be married to. So she went into her son's room to get away from him, but he continued into the room. She said that Mr. Robley was arguing and yelling at her and they were in each other's face. She said she walked out of her son's room and spit on Mr. Robley's face when she walked past him in the upstairs hallway. Officer asked her if any physical struggle happened between them. She said nothing physical occurred between them, but he wouldn't stop yelling at her. Officer then spoke with Mr. Robley. He reported that Ms. Timmons-Robley was agitated because one of their sons is 18. She would like for him to move out. Mr. Robley said he started to unload the dresser that they had just picked up when their younger son attempted to help. He said Ms. Timmons-Robley yelled at him to stop helping. Mr. Robley said that Ms. Timmons-Robley became angry at him for telling her to calm down, and they started to argue. He said that she started to yell at everyone in the house, and when she went into their bedroom and turned the television, she went into the bedroom and turned the television up to an extreme level. Mr. Robley said that he went into the bedroom and unplugged the television from the wall. Officer asked if he struggled over the remote. Mr. Robley said that he never had the remote. He said that Ms. Timmons-Robley then went into their son's room and began to yell inside that room at the child or at the son. Mr. Robley said that he then went into the room, told her to leave and calm down. He reported that he couldn't really make out what she was saying, but he was telling her to leave the son's room because he had nothing to do with this. He said that Ms. Timmons-Robley walked toward him, spat in his face. He said that he told her that she was done and needed to leave. He said that he was walking down the stairs so he could pack up her stuff, and she pushed him with two hands in the back as he was walking down the stairs. He said he caught himself from falling and that he grabbed her items to pack up, and she told him she was going to call the police. Officer observed scratches behind both ears on Mr. Robley. He said that Ms. Timmons-Robley is often physically abusive with him, and he could not recall when the marks were made. Officer asked to see Mr. Robley's skin on the back to assess for any marks. He pulled up his shirt to reveal that there was a distinct red scratch on his right upper back. Officer took a photo of the mark. The scratch corroborated his statement of being pushed as he walked down the stairs. Mr. Robley provided a written statement. Officer then returned to Ms. Timmons-Robley, asked her to explain what had occurred after she spit in Mr. Robley's face. Officer asked her if anything else had occurred. She told the officer that she did not push Mr. Robley. Officer notes that officer never asked if she had pushed Mr. Robley. Officer then read her Miranda rights. She acknowledged her rights, said she would not like to speak further. At this point, city will stop. We're seeing probable cause for simple assault, domestic violence.
All right, I will find probable cause for simple assault based on that declaration. All right, so that plea is not guilty. Ms. Timmons-Robley, you qualify for the public defender based on your application here, and I'm going to appoint the Pacific Point Defense to be your attorney, and Mr. Sharp, city's position on release conditions.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Timmons-Robley presents with no criminal history. As such, no objection to her release today. City does ask for law-abiding behavior, that she not possess any firearms or other dangerous weapons, that she surrender any firearm or concealed pistol license that may be in her possession or control, that she abide by the terms of the domestic violence no contact order. The order presented does include a civil standby provision. Finally, the city's asking for drug and alcohol conditions, namely no consumption and no frequenting of bars or taverns. As the court just heard, she had indicated consuming alcohol and marijuana prior to this incident, so city believes that there is a nexus.
Texas number is on our sheet there. All right, Ms. Langley, your position?
Thank you, Your Honor. My biggest concern is the no contact order, and I'm not sure what to recommend to the court about this family. I think it was clear from the statement that the prosecutor read into the record that he was pursuing her through the house and she tried to get away from him. He was yelling and screaming. No matter where she went, there he was telling her not to be there. She tells me that she's absolutely powerless in this relationship. She has no job. They were in the military. They came out from South Carolina. All of her family is there. They have 3 minor children of their living in the house. She has no job, no income, no control of the money. She doesn't even know if her cell phone will be on because he has the ability to turn it off. So I don't know what becomes of her or her children if there's a no contact order. She doesn't even have anywhere to go. So I'm just going to leave the court with that. I mean, I think if there wasn't an order, maybe she'd have an opportunity to seek resources. I think she knows what they are. She's had to seek them before. Thank you.
Do you have any input from Joshua?
Yes, Your Honor. He indicates he is in favor of the order. With a civil standby, he indicated that he'll leave the keys for one of the cars for her to pick up and also a bank card with funds on it for her to use.
All right, first of all, Ms. Timmons-Robley, I will release you on your own recognizance. Conditions while the case is pending are these: don't violate the law, don't go to bars or taverns or consume any alcohol, marijuana, or non-prescribed drugs, don't possess firearms or dangerous weapons. If you have any firearms, dangerous weapons, or a concealed pistol license, you're to surrender those immediately to law enforcement. And I am going to issue this no contact order with Joshua, with the exception that you can go with a police escort back to the residence to get your personal belongings. We'll set your case. I'm sorry, question?
No, what about Your Honor, what about the children? They have 3 children that are minor children. She's a stay-at-home mom.
I was going to ask Mr. Sharp if there was any objection to text and email contact.
Oh, if the court can hear me. I don't have any indication from Mr. Robley in the note here. John Quill is on the call. I don't know if she has further information or not. Without assent, and given, he did speak out in favor of the order, the city would object to any exceptions without his agreement.
Okay. And do we know anything about that, John Kill?
Your Honor, the thing that the alleged victim expressed to me is that he made some accommodations in the civil standby, the car and the bank card and such, so that he could be in the home to take care of the 3 children. That's the only thing he mentioned.
Okay. These are younger kids.
They are. How old are they? 8 and 11, and I wrote this down. They're not babies, but they're also less than teenagers.
How can I not be around my kids and he called me a bitch right in front of my son?
All right, I'm gonna, just because I inevitably see this as gonna be an issue under circumstances like these, I will allow an exception for text and email about the kids. All right, so Ms. Timmons-Robley, in addition to being able to go back to the residence to get your stuff with the police, you can text Joshua or email him only to discuss your kids and your financial circumstances, not the case or anything else. All right. Candace, are we going to be able to assign a pretrial date now? Okay. August 8th, 9 a.m. Okay. And your date to come back to court in this case is going to be on August 8th at 9 o'clock in the morning.
I did not push him. And I told the officer I did not push him because he kept yelling at the officer that I pushed him. I could hear him.
And I to talk to your lawyer about that. Okay, don't. It's kind of,
Yes, sir. I didn't even ask for a divorce. I just wanted him to leave me alone.
all right, Ms. Timmons-Robley, you're all done for today and you're going to be released.
All right, there we go. All right, Mr. Garza, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm Magistrate Garwood. I'm going to be handling your case today. Before we get too far into your case, 2 bits of housekeeping. First of all, we're doing this hearing by Zoom. If something happens that you can't hear or see me, let me know right away. Otherwise, I will assume our connection's working just fine. Secondly, the courthouse is closed to the public. The public has the right to hear and see what's happening here in the courtroom. So all of our cases are being broadcast live on our YouTube channel. When we are done here today, everything's going to come off of the YouTube channel. Do you understand?
Yes.
Very good. Then we are going to proceed. This is case SPD 23-4042. Mr. Garza, tell me your full and complete name for the record.
Barry Lee Garza.
Thank you. And Mr. Garza, I want to advise you of your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, the court will refer you to the local appointing authority for them to make investigation as to representation. You also have the right to a probable cause conference within 14 days of today and a preliminary examination within 21 days. And you have the right to a trial. Do you understand your rights as I've explained them to you, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. I will have Mr. Bellinger from the Public Defender's Office assist you today, and then I'll sign the order referring you to the local appointing authority upon presentation thereof. With that, we will proceed with appearances by counsel. We will start with the people. Ms. Blanche?
Jessica Blanche, appearing on behalf of people.
Thank you. Good morning. Mr. Bellinger, you're muted.
Of course I am. Apologies, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Jay Bellinger appearing with and on behalf of Mr. Garza, who appears via Zoom from the jail. Your Honor, with regard to the charges, we would waive a formal reading and stand mute at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Garza, I'm not going to go through the details of the complaint with you because you've had a chance to review that information with your attorney, and he's indicated that you are going to waive formal reading. He has you standing mute. That means you'll remain silent as to the charges. I will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. I will schedule you for your next court date. That will be a probable cause conference. That will be in front of Judge Simpson on August 17th at 9 a.m. or as soon thereafter as your case can be called. That will be by Zoom. We will send you a notice to appear and you will receive additional information from the public defender's office. Do you understand?
Yes.
Very good. The next thing we'll need to address in this matter is bond. There are two parts to bond. Bond conditions, those are things the court tells you you can and cannot do. If you violate a bond condition, you're subject to immediate arrest. The other side of bond is whether you can be released today on your own personal recognizance or whether you'd have to post a bond in order to be released. Before I make any decisions regarding bond or bond conditions, I will hear from Ms. Blanche if she wishes to be heard. I will hear from Mr. Bellinger on your behalf. I do have a written request from law enforcement and the prosecutor. Additionally, I did have a chance to hear testimony from the Saline Police Department regarding what allegedly took place on the day in question, August 3rd. All of that information goes into my evaluation. You'll get a copy of your conditions when we are done today. Ms. Blanche, would the people like to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. This defendant's been charged with 1 count of open murder, 1 count of assault with intent to murder, and 1 count of felony firearm. The female victim in this case had a PPO, which was granted on 7/28, but had not been served on the defendant. He showed up to her work, shot her in the neck, and then shot a male victim who was near her. He got into his car and fled from the scene and police. He purposefully crashed his car in another vehicle, which ended the flee. He made terrible statements on the scene, which showed his intent, like, I'm not sorry I killed that fucking bitch. Based on the charges, the fact that this defendant is an absolute threat to this community, and the fact that he's a flight risk, we're asking for you to deny the bond. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bellinger.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have had an opportunity to meet with Mr. Garza. Your Honor, understanding the provisions of 6.106 B1A, I understand that this court has the right to deny a bond in this matter. We would be asking for some sort of monetary bond here so that he may start accruing some sort of credit. I understand that these are life terms with a max. However, if for some reason there are defenses here, we would just ask that he'd be able to start accruing some credit while he is in. So just any sort of monetary amount we would be recommending.
Thank you. Anything further, Ms. Blanche?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Garza, I know you had a little bit of time to talk to Mr. Bellinger. I want you to understand and want the record to be clear. Under the Michigan Court Rules, Section 6.106B1, the court may deny pretrial release to a defendant if they are charged with murder or treason, and continues on with various other matters in that court rule. I'll be honest, I'm not particularly concerned whether you're getting credit for your time in jail. I heard the testimony from the police department regarding what allegedly took place on the day in question. Someone has died. Perhaps there's some defense, but quite honestly, at this point with the information presented to me, I can't imagine what that would be. In addition to the loss of life of Ms. Thomas, there was another individual who could have died as well. And then we have the following then a flee, and then a car crash where another person was injured, and then another attempt to flee. I don't see any reason to do a cash bond over a denial of bond, a large cash bond over a denial of bond. I don't think there's any viable, reasonable cause for me to do that. I just don't find that to be justified in any way. This is a devastating case. So I am going to deny bond outright according to the court rule that I have just cited. And no bond will be set. You will be held until your next court date, which again is your probable cause conference, August 17th at 9 a.m. Just in case, I am still going to set bond conditions. And it's important that you understand your bond conditions and you comply with your bond conditions, you are, and I appreciate some of these are irrelevant while you're sitting in custody, but I'm going to set them all now in case there's some kind of change in the future. You're not allowed to use alcohol, illegal drugs, or marijuana. You're not allowed to leave the state of Michigan while your case is pending. You're not to purchase or possess any firearms, ammunition, or dangerous weapons. You are not to be with anyone in possession of any firearms, dangerous weapons, or ammunition. You are not to assault, harass, intimidate, beat, molest, wound, or threaten anyone. You are to have no contact with any immediate member of Amber Thomas's family. You are to have no contact with Nancy Thomas. You are to have no contact with Richard Edwards. You are to have no contact with any immediate family members of Richard Edwards. You are not to go to any home, work, school, house of worship of Richard Edwards, Nancy Thomas, or any immediate family members of any of those individuals. And I just want to clarify when we talk about no contact, because you'll likely have the ability to potentially access email, have phone access, potentially be able to see people, have visits while you're in the jail. You cannot direct anyone to be in touch with any of the people I have said you can have no contact with on your behalf. You cannot have access to people by phone, email, telephone, any kind of internet or social media, no writing to anyone. No contact means no contact. And certainly if it's found that you have any contact with any of those individuals, any privileges that you have at the jail, telephone and such, they can certainly be revoked. Again, you're to commit no crimes while your case is pending. All of your conditions, they will exist whether you're in custody or out of custody and remain in full force and effect until changed by the court. Ms. Blanche, anything else we need to address in this matter?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Bellinger, anything else we need to address in this matter?
I do not believe so, Your Honor. I'm just checking through my notes real quick, if you don't mind.
That will just make sure. Mr. Garza, do you have any questions for the court?
No, ma'am.
All right.
We have nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, very good. Upon presentation of the order referring Mr. Garza to the local appointing authority, I will sign that. You may have already sent it. I just don't have it yet. And with that, this case is done. Mr. Garza, you can stand up and go to the door to let the jail staff know that you are done. We'll get your paperwork to you later today. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Blanche.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, and over at the county, or I'm sorry, at the Nisqually Jail, what's your name, please?
Theodore London, Your Honor.
And Mr. London, today you're here for your arraignment. Looks like that was held over from last week, charge of trespass in the first degree. Did you get a chance to talk to Ms. Langley today before court?
Your Honor, it just makes me sick to my stomach, the fact that I keep getting picked up for trespassing charges and I've never even tried to go in. I can't walk in Lacey area. Could you please relocate me to another county? Because it is very wrong for me. And I know I have mental disabilities and all this other BS, but it's very wrong for me to be in an area where I live, not doing nothing wrong, to get arrested 10 times this year. And I'm mad. Put me down, put me out of my misery, euthanize me. What do the cops got to do? Look out for me every time I get too high, put me in jail? Or the fact is, Starbucks has an anti-discriminatory.
Georgia Peach here. So Von Kerman and I, we struggle with showing these cases because of the mental health issues. It is entertaining. I mean, I cannot lie. It is entertaining. However, our jails are full of mental health patients that need treatment instead of jail. Our country, we closed all those awful sanitariums and we replaced them with nothing. And that's BS. It infuriates me. We need to take care of these people. I mean, they need to stay on their medications. I don't know whether forced medications is the answer. My friend Garrett, he would be like, yeah, we're not going to force medications on people. But if it keeps them healthy and safe and out of jail, I mean, come on. Oh, it makes me so mad.
But the fact is, Starbucks has an anti-discriminatory thing, and I didn't even try to go in the store, and at first trespassing the first degree, what am I supposed to lose my temper? And then, and the worst part about it, Your Honor, is to be handcuffed. The worst part about it is to be handcuffed at least 15 times this year for no reason at all.
Ms. Langley?
Oh, thank you, Your Honor. I'm torn here. Last time Mr. London was here, he was found, we did a competency evaluation. He was found to be not competent. Now he's back. We had a pretty good conversation before. I'm a little concerned about what I'm hearing now.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to let the courts know that I feel like I'm being picked on in public. I haven't done nothing wrong. Again, I haven't done nothing wrong.
Okay, well,
Mr. London, let me hear from Ms. Langley and Mr. Sharp for a minute, okay?
okay, so I mean, I really am torn. Like I said, the conversation made pretty good sense, but now I'm hearing the things I'm hearing. I wonder if we should follow up with that again.
Yeah, okay. Well, Mr. Sharp, I think the city had dismissed a case not too long ago, just a matter of a couple of weeks back.
Well, Mr. London does have a history of kind of coming in and out of competency. I know in 2018, we had a similar situation, and then in the interim, everything was fine. I suppose I would suggest further colloquy. I mean, I understand some extreme statements were made there. I don't hear anything non-coherent or maybe suggesting confusion. You know, exaggeration can be one thing, but Mr. London's obviously pretty upset, and I think he's been trying to express that. That to me doesn't suggest a competency problem.
The officers know me. I know them. I stop. I've never fought with you guys. I've never ran from you guys. And for me to have to get on my hands and my knees, and I still feel like I'm being roughed up. Every time I've been handled, I've been roughed up. If we look at my history, I've never resisted arrest. And even this last time, I get dents in my forearms. I'm shoved into a police car. It does not feel good. And okay, if you guys care about me, if you really care about me, then why don't you guys put me in a home and help me get a job? My mom don't trust me because I'm in and out of jail. I've never did nothing wrong to her. And it's quite apparent that, you know, on the front page news, we know what the London family's doing. Okay. And I'm not stupid. I didn't do nothing wrong. It makes me so emotional because the only chance I get to say something out loud to anybody, and it can be disregarded and moved forward because you guys are over. But I didn't do nothing wrong. I didn't do nothing wrong this last time I got arrested. And the time before when you had dismissed, I didn't do nothing wrong. What else? You guys don't have nothing else to do.
Well, Mr. London, if you don't feel like you did anything wrong, do you trust Ms. Langley to help you out with that?
Yes, and I wish that there was a place for me to go even. Where can I go when I get out that will not just kick me to the side in 5 minutes? Oh, we don't have time for you. BHR hasn't had time for me yet in consideration for them, that I probably need to go where there's men working because these women are, I'm 6'3". I must look scary to them. They don't want to deal with me. You got to go. Every time I feel sex discriminated towards, because I'm a male, and it's okay. It's okay with me because you know what? I've only lost the last 10 years of my life because I'm a drug dealer in Thurston County, and I haven't even sold drugs in 10 years. And what would we be on the map for the United States of America if we weren't a drug? This is where people come to vacation to get drugs. And I can't even sell drugs. I can't even be around drugs because I'm not, I don't like it. I don't like the love that I was getting from it. I'm just saying, I don't like it. And now I'm paying the price that I've had to pay since I was like 4th grade for Ritalin, ADHD, ADD. And you can say, oh, he's competent, he's not competent, he's competent, he's not competent. You know what I don't get? I don't get it.
So if you don't think you did anything wrong and
know
you
I
trust
didn't. I
Ms.
know I
Langley to
didn't.
help
No,
you
no.
with that, do you think that Do you think that you can listen, that you can follow along with what we're doing here? Make a decision, help us make a decision as to what happens next in your case?
Very sorry, Your Honor. I would rather have more manners than I have right now, but I'm ready to emotionally break down. I'm like day 10 without coffee, without nicotine, okay, without these drugs that you say I need. And not only that, I like to be honest. And then when you even show the inkling of compassion, which you have in the past, Your Honor, okay, and these, you know, plenty times in the past, Your Honor, but yes, I want help, and I don't want to wait till 7 o'clock at night when I get kicked out. There's no choice for me to do nothing good at 7 o'clock at night. What am I gonna do? Go fend for myself, go fight for a rat hole? I don't know, Your Honor. I don't know. And then what's really going on, you know? What's really going on in my life? Nothing. I got nothing. I got a mom that don't want to see me. I got 2 kids I can't go see. And then I blank it out, blank it out for what? For what? A little sniff of drugs, a little part-time job. And not even a part-time job, you know, just enough to, very aware of, enough to take some trash out for a couple cigarettes. And the minimum wage is supposed to be $15 an hour. You know.
Okay. So do you have any idea why you're here talking to me right now?
They said that I went into Starbucks in Lacey.
Okay. They are saying that.
And I'm
And
saying
they're not just saying
it.
that though.
Okay.
They're saying you weren't allowed to go into Starbucks.
I didn't even try to go into Starbucks. I walked by Starbucks. I started to talk to myself about some stuff that I had read in books. And I was like, well, if this is this and this is that. And I was like, well, excuse me, you guys, because there was 3 people that always sit out in front of Starbucks. The guy with, they look like veterans. They have white beards and stuff. And I just stopped I didn't even try to go in there. I don't even attempt to go in there no more. But that's like when I'm in this side of town, Hawkesbury, when I'm in Hawkesbury area, I'm in Hawkesbury area. I don't even go to Safeway no more. I don't go to Dollar Store no more. I don't go to Starbucks no more. Matter of fact, I probably don't even need to be in Thurston County at all.
So if this is all, as you say, a mistake, then
It's not a mistake. I'm a homeless person. I got nowhere to go, Your Honor. What are we gonna do with me? And I hate to say this. I love my mom. I want to hug her when I see her. She stands at the door and looks at me like, what do you want? I want my mom back. All right. I want my mom back. The one that before my dad got killed in the backyard. I want that one back, you know, before I stole weed from somebody and they killed my father. You know, that's how much weed was worth back in the day. I stole weed that I needed to smoke to make my brain feel better. And my dad gets killed in Thurston County. It's my fault. Thurston County.
all right. I don't have any confidence that Mr. London is really tracking what this is about. And
Sorry if you think that.
that discussion was very tangential and circular, and doesn't inspire any confidence in me that Mr. London understands that there's a criminal charge pending and that there's a court process that goes along with that to resolve it. I don't see it. He's struggling to even focus for a moment.
And then I starve in here. I don't even get to eat enough food to make my brain heal.
All right, Ms. Langley, if you want to present an order for a competency assessment, I'll order that.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, if I may, you know, it's recently been pretty high profile, the extreme overstretch of the state's Western State Hospital system.
I don't even want to
City
deal with
doesn't
that,
want
Your Honor.
to
I don't got 6 months to deal with. I plead not guilty to trespassing in the first degree. There's no way, without my emotions involved, they're gonna say that I trespassed. I did not trespass the property. I did not go in the doors.
If
I walked
Mr.
by
Leonard could
it.
just give me a second here. Given the extreme overburden on that system and the nature of this case, city doesn't think it would be a responsible use of public resources to do another evaluation after one just a few months ago. So the city will move to dismiss.
All right,
Thank
Mr. London, you heard that. The prosecutor is dismissing the charge for now. You'll be released on it for now.
And I'll come to
If
the
what you
court.
told me shows any kind of insight, though, into the kind of things that bring you to the attention of the police and get you arrested, you'll find a way to avoid that.
Okay, and I will check in with BHR again. I do need to start my mental health stuff.
Always a good idea. All right, Mr. London, the charge is dismissed.
Thank you guys for listening to me and appreciate your help. And I will reach out to my friends that I do have in the mental health industry when I do settle down a little bit and see what I can do for myself. Thank you, Your Honor.
I'd like to see you. All right, you're good to go, Mr. London.
All right, that's it.
And